Did any of you hear of anything since we spoke about this the last time?
We were waiting for all the 5-day protests to begin, and we haven't reviewed all those. I think I indicated during that meeting, and it's a good question, and I'll re-indicate it here for this group, that some of those things can be reviewed. The cost of financing past 20 years it becomes more and more expensive, plus the interest costs usually make it undesirable to do so. But those are options that are going to be looked at and are going to be presented to the Board of Commission for consideration. The real problem comes in, you would have a group of people that want 30 years, and you may have a group of people that want 20 years, another group wants 15 years, and it's almost impossible to resolve for everybody. But I think that the various avenues are going to be explored with trying to get an aggressive rate and trying to make those payments as tenable as possible for everybody. But those matters will be reviewed and they will be communicated, because when people are told whether they want to pay their assessments up front or have the county do the financing, we need to tell them the terms and conditions of that financing at that point.
Okay. And the only other alternative we have that might come up might be issue 2 money, Ken. If issue 2 kicks some money in September or August, maybe.
That's a possibility. Issue 2 requires it to be spent in 2 years. So if you're looking at construction at the ending of 2007, or even entering into the system in early 2008, so it's too early to apply. So it'd be September of this year for 2006.
Okay, thank you.
Any other person who wishes to please come forward. This young lady here and then the gentleman in the back. Just come make a line.
My name is Jean Tolliver, Tolliver. I live on Rolling Avenue. I just put in a new aeration system a couple years ago. Cost me $5,000. What happens to that?
Wayne, I believe you might be able to answer.
The way it's going to work is that it's through the health department. They're going to mandate that you connect sooner or later. You're going to have to abandon that unit, break down the top, pump out the liquid, knock holes in the bottom of your tanks, fill it up with gravel or sand, and properly abandon that. That will be a requirement.
Aeration system, I'm going to have to abandon something that cost me $5,000.
Yeah, it's going to be between you and the health.
You guys wouldn't let me do anything else, so I had to do that?
It's between you and the health department. The health department is offering, I know in the past in certain communities, I can't say it's going to be offered to you, but the ability to withhold and wait and push back that date, you're going to have to talk to your health department about that.
Okay, and where do I get that person's phone number and name? Because I'm not the only neighbor, I'm not the only person. There's like 3 or 4 of us on Rolling Avenue that have all put in new aeration systems, which...
The name and number of the health department can be provided by the clerk at the conclusion of the business. Okay? Okay. We'll make sure that you get that.
Okay. Thank you.
Next.
Yeah, I'm Josh Weiss. I live on 1637 Elfita Street. My last name is W-E-E-S-E. My question is, now you're charging, well, for say me, $15,000 for the pipe that goes in front. How much is that tap going to cost me to go into that?
Good question. Who has the breakdown on the hookups from the street to the house?
Bishop has a breakdown of what Lorain City charges for tapping into their system.
Yeah, it's bear with me a minute, I'll try to go through these. You have a $40 permit fee. You have to come to the county here, get a permit. That'd be a $40 county permit fee for inspection of the work that you have done. Then you have to pay the City of Lorain's fees. The City of Lorain has a $400 capital improvement fee, which is the fee that they have for their wastewater treatment plant, the cost they've had put in their wastewater plant. You have a $600 residential tie-in fee. That's for the interceptor sewers and everything coming out to your waste, or excuse me, no, that's for the recent improvements that they've done at their wastewater treatment plant. And then you'll have an acreage fee of $350 per acre. So if you have a half an acre, it'd be a half that. And that is payable to the city of Lorain for the construction of their sewers coming out into the area.
Now, how you figure how acreage-wise? I just bought the
That's off
house
your
a year.
deeded acreage, and when you come on into the county to get your permit, we'll work that out for you.
So 1,200 more?
We got $350 per acre, $600 for a residential tie-in fee, $400 for a capital improvement fee.
Okay.
That's the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, and another question I had, who's going to be inspecting the job when it's done?
The county, that's the
connection.
$40 permit fee. The county will come out and look at that
So
installation.
the county is doing the inspection?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Shirley Thompson. I live at 5120 Orchard Avenue, and I'm 73 years old and living on Social Security and opposed to this sewer project 1112. I can't afford it. My assessment is $14,747.17, and you need to find some funding for this. The people in Sheffield Township can't pay this. I have a neighbor that recently is coming home from the hospital. She had cancer surgery, and I know they can't pay it because she's got thousands of dollars in medical bills. And why can't the county pay for this? They paid for the airport sewers. There was a problem over that. You said the people didn't have to tie in. Then they had to tie in. And now you're paying for sewer studies and sewers for this big resort in Amherst or South Amherst or wherever it is. These billionaires never paid any taxes in Lorain County. We did. Most of us have lived in this township most of our lives. And most of my neighbors, and we've all paid our taxes these years. And why should we have this shoved down our throat? We need some help.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Is there anyone else who would like to comment? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Dara Slentz, Derrislents. I live on Rolling Avenue. The cost, you said the cost for the assessment did not include all these permits and the tie-ins to Lorain.
That is correct.
Okay. And that's not counting every month the bill we're going to have to pay to Lorain City Sewer, which is more than we pay for water, right?
That is correct.
I happen to work for the City of Lorain Utilities Department, and I really wish you hadn't hooked us up to Lorain, honestly. It's kind of cutting my own throat there, but it's true. They have problems with flooding, and we may not be flooding when we tie in, but they have problems with their plants, and I don't see why, you didn't look somewhere else.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Every street was different.
My name is Bertha Nicely. I live on Clifton Avenue, but my brother lives on Dutton Road. And I know, I was raised on Dutton Road. These people cannot afford this. And I thought in the beginning they were told it was going to be paid for by grants. But I don't know what happened there. But there was also a petition signed for Dutton Road. Can you tell me where that is going right now?
I believe this,
Dutton Road is a petitioning process. We've received it, and we're presently reviewing we already had a public hearing, and we're going to final design and permit to install for that sewer system. We'll have one more public hearing, I believe, after that.
When is that, do you know?
No. We'll have to notify the individual people, but I could not give you a date on that. But
I don't think we're having another public hearing. Okay? So I don't want to leave. I don't believe
I'm
there's
sorry.
another. Anthony?
Notification.
Yeah, the objectors would be notified of any future board action. There is no public
They would be
hearing.
notified of a date of decision.
Correct. That is correct, Jim.
Okay, but not, we
There's
closed
no
the
more
public hearing.
No.
Okay, thank you. I just needed clarification on that.
That would be a notification, sorry.
There's no more public hearings? Can you tell me exactly where it stands now? Did they get enough signatures or whatever?
Anthony, do you want to explain from a legal process the next steps, or do you?
After this public hearing,
Or she's asking about Dunton Road,
Right.
Anthony.
Which is the same on Dutton Road.
Yeah, Dutton was the one we had about a week and a half ago.
Within the 5 days after that hearing, people were allowed to object in writing, just like this proceeding today. And then commissioners cannot act for that 5-day period, and then any time after that, the commissioners can decide whether or not to proceed with the project based on their review maybe of the situation as they see it after the public hearing process. Okay. And then the commissioners would decide to pass what's called an improvement resolution to proceed with the project at that point.
When the notice of proceed, the date that the notice of proceed is going to be decided upon, we are required by law to notify the people that raised an objection.
Correct.
Within the 5-day period that it has been scheduled for a decision.
A board
Right.
meeting, correct.
Okay,
A board
Right.
meeting, correct.
okay.
A board.
Yeah, I can direct this to you, Mr. Januzzi. Am I correct in your name?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I lived on Clifton Avenue. Our sewers were nothing. At the time, we thought they were a little pricey. Nothing compared to this. And I believe that was 10 or 12 years ago. I mean, and we have a
Yeah.
100-foot frontage. Nothing compared to what you're charging these people. I mean, thank you.
Yes, sir?
Yes, I'm James Gwynn. I live on 5288 Globe Avenue. I come in, I see, $18,000. That's a lot of money for sewer. And I know this is directed to Lorain because I know they had something going on the sewers on Oak Point Road.
That's why I'm here today.
Is this something similar to you? That was what happened to you? And you fought it and you won?
I fought it. That's why I ran for office in the city of
Right.
Lorain. That's why I'm here today. I think the difference is I was in a municipality. The cities have funding and are able to get funding for projects. And after we fought it, we hired attorneys and engineers and everything, and we fought it. But that's how we got more money to pay for it. The county doesn't have the opportunity to get that type of money.
Yeah, but I don't know, it's just a shame that it don't seem like we could work out something better than what, $18,000.
Well, the only
Without having to go getting attorneys and everything else and fighting this.
thing is, I'm hoping that the assessments are figured on the high side, and when the bids come in, hopefully they'll be lower. And you do have the opportunity to put on your taxes for 20 years, which would help. And I feel bad for you people because I was in the same situation you're in, and you're looking at us like the bad guys, but we're not the EPA mandating this on you like we had one a couple weeks ago. It was EPA mandated. This was you guys, maybe not you sitting in this room, but you're the 40%, but there was 62% of the people saying we want a sewer. So we're not forcing this on you. You asked for this,
Well,
not you particularly.
Yeah, I don't remember
And the
saying
fact
anything.
that somebody told you that there was grant money available shouldn't have told you that. And I don't know who told you that.
Nobody told me nothing. I mean, I got this letter and I knew they were coming through, but, like she said, or a couple of people, a lot of people have gotten you septic tanks.
Right.
And there's just as cheap and the lake is polluted now.
Yeah,
Isn't that something
you guys
to
are
look
in
at?
I feel bad for you. I honestly feel bad for you. I couldn't afford it, and the thing is, my council person said, well, you people can afford it, just don't go out to eat once a week. And I mean, come on. This is a lot of
That's what
money.
I mean, I called Januzzi, right? He said, they'll add it on, 20 for 20 years. That's another $100 a month. Your
Right.
taxes, you're paying for taxes,
I know.
and then you're going to have to pay to use it. I mean, hey, if it's ours, give it to us and don't make us pay for it for 20 years. Something.
Thank you, Mr. Gwynn.
I'm back. In view of all this, I think that they should probably take another survey of those 62% that signed for that, because at the time, I'm sure they wasn't aware of the expense of this project. And I think that would be a real wise project to do.
Because they were misinformed.
Yeah, for sure. Most people were misinformed about the project. They thought it wasn't going to be any cost to us outside of tap-in fees. So,
Mr. Gout, that's a legal question. If people have signed a document,
The county is not required to re-evaluate the petition process.
Yes, ma'am.
Jean Tolliver, Rolling Avenue.
Second time.
Can we get a petition in the next, like from these people, and to oppose this now that it's going through? You said you can't retract that, but can you get a petition to oppose it? I did not sign that petition, and I know several people that didn't.
You have 5 days from the closing of this hearing to submit whatever protest that you want for consideration.
For consideration, but that doesn't mean that it'll necessarily go through.
I don't understand your answer, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay, we can send our information and saying we oppose it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be accepted. Now, what I'm saying, you said 62% said they wanted sewers. Okay, now of those 62%, what if it goes the other way? Now we're going to oppose it.
Well, I need to indicate to you that a considerable amount of money has been spent already on engineering this sewer.
Yeah, but
And-
I'm looking at 50,000 or more. Most of these people in here are looking at 20,000 or more. Think about the people, we're going to either lose our homes. I live and work in Clearview School District. This is the first time ever Clearview School District has not passed levies in these last 2 years. Everyone has been laid off. They're looking at laying off teachers. I might lose my job next year because the levy's not going to pass again. You think all these people out here are going to pass a levy for a school district when they're looking at $50, $60, $30, $20,000 in being put on their taxes? There's no way. Like they said, most of them raise their kids. It is mostly, my son's going to graduate this year, the last kid I have in school. I supported the levy. I work for the school. We have a good school system. Yeah, there's been mistakes made, but I've seen some great changes in our system, but I see the levies not being passed. And I understand why they're not passing them. They can't afford it. I can't afford it. And now you're going to access all this other money that they have to pay for somebody, I didn't sign it. I don't know. And they were probably lied to in order to get them to sign the petition in the first place. They were probably told, oh, there's grant money, we're going to, you won't have to pay that much, or I wouldn't even talk to them. When they came and said, I said, there's no way, and they left. Because they knew there was no way. I have major frontage. I'm looking at $50,000 to $60,000. And my husband's been laid off from 2 steel mill companies. He now works for a company that took over the second steel mill company that he worked for. He's going to have to work for the rest of his life. He's not going to get to retire and enjoy anything. And I may not have a job next year, and some of these other people don't have jobs. Lorain offers no jobs, but they're willing to take our $50,000. Where do they think they're going to get it from? There's no Ford plant. There's no steel mills. There's nothing. There's no Marconi's anymore. Where do they think they're going to get the money from?
Lorain's not taking the $50,000. That's to pay back the cost of putting the sewers in. They're going to take your monthly, your flow, but they're not getting the $50,000.
But I'm just saying,
to pay the contractors.
all this money, where is it going to come from? Nobody in Lorain County has jobs. You don't have top-paying jobs anymore. You have high crime out there anymore because there's no jobs. Because the people that used to go into the Ford and the mill, they have to take low-paying minimum wage jobs away from the teenagers. They're becoming adults. Where are we going to get this money? I know it's not your fault. I know it started with the petition that wanted the sewers in there. Those people, it started. Are they going to pay for our sewers? For those of us who can't? No, I doubt it seriously. And maybe even some of them regret asking for this because maybe they didn't know that it would cost this much. They just knew that they were denied being able to build on their property because of the clay factor or whatever factor it was. Well, yeah, maybe they can build and sell that home for $100,000. I doubt it when they don't have a school system that's worth anything, because nobody passes their levies, and the school system's going to lose all their teachers. I know, I worked there. They're going to start losing teachers if this levy does not pass in February or whenever they put it on the ballot. Who wants to live in, it's a high crime already. You have gangs, everything. What do you think is going to happen when you don't have that school system? And they get incorporated into Lorain City Schools, and there's going to be overcrowding. You're going to have more kids on the street. I work with severe behavior children. I hear it every day. They have no jobs. They have nothing to look forward to in Lorain or Sheffield Township. This project is just going to hurt so many people. All these people that are sitting here, every one of them, it's going to hurt them big time. Somebody needs to do something. And how are we all going to get letters written in 5 days and make sure they're going to the right place? And
you can write them today.
Make
Just
sure
drop them off to our clerk.
You can write them while you're here. She'll take them.
I'm sure everybody brought paper with you, right?
We've got paper. We'll give
you paper.
So, well, that's what I have to say. I just think that somebody needs to do something to stop this project or find a way to, because I'm not going to qualify for that money that she's talking about, because I'm not on low income right now, but next year I might, because I might be laid off. Because, like I said, there's no way anyone in here is going to vote to pass a levy for the schools, because they're looking at all this money that they have to pay.
Thank you, Mrs. Tolliver. Sir?
Yeah, Dave Newsom, 5340 Broadway. I have a question, first of all, for Kelly Glenn. When these petitions was passed out, was you a part of that? Did you walk the streets?
No, I was not.
Okay, did anybody in here, no one's seen her walk and ask a question, is that correct? Petitions?
No, Ms. Glenn did not take the petition
Okay,
for the sewer.
all right, then there was a lady that did, and her name was Barbara Tate. She did go around and take petitions. Did anybody remember Barb Tate coming around? Okay. And I'm sure the commissioners know this. She did promise that to these people when she was taking the petitions around, that this would be funded by grants.
Why do you think the commissioners know that what Barbara Tate said to the residents?
You've not heard that yet?
I heard that at our last sewer hearing.
Okay.
But before that, I had no idea.
So, I mean, right now we know that she did promise this. She admitted to promising these people through grants. So is there some legal direction that we can send these people in, because they signed this, they've signed this petition, and you received a 60-some% vote for this on false information?
Jack, you validated the petition, didn't you?
Yeah, but as far as I know, Barb couldn't have. Now you're talking three different projects here. You say you're from Broadway. Is that Broadway in Amherst, Broadway in Lorain?
I just live on Broadway. I'm a trustee for Sheffield Township.
Okay, all right. On the Rolling Heights project, I gave all the petitions to Bill Rahoric. He distributed to the petitioners on the streets that were petitioned.
Right, and Barb Tate was,
as far as I know,
Barb Tate was one of the ladies that went around to 90% of these
Barb
houses.
doesn't own any property in the Rolling Heights allotment.
I understand.
So how could she, as far as I knew, and I told Bill Rahoric, that only people that live in the area can circulate those petitions.
Okay, so
I don't know.
So right now we have a couple mistakes going on here. One was may have been by one of our own trustees, but right now the people that signed most of these was misinformed. So my question is there, if these people are saying that said that this project was going to be funded by grants, the reason they signed it. Not saying just everybody here, but the 62%. If I lived in that area and somebody come around with a petition and said, this is going to be funded by 62%, it's not going to come out of your pocket, I'd probably sign it. So is there any legal action that these people can take or do, or what can the step is to go back on this?
Go ahead.
I'd like to make one important comment that I think answers your question and some of the other questions that I'm hearing related to your question. Anyone can file a written objection within 5 days of this hearing, whether or not you signed a petition. So to answer your question, anyone can file a written objection. That's the recourse at this point provided to each of you and whoever is not even here under Ohio law. You didn't need to attend this hearing to file a written objection.
Okay.
So that addresses the question on all fours.
So we could go out to, today, these people in this room, that, you know, everybody that's against this, that can't afford this, they could go to their neighbors and inform them that they could all file a petition, like basically another petition saying that they object to this. Is that correct?
Is that a possibility that you can do that?
Right.
Sure.
Okay, and who would look at these?
The written objections need to be filed within 5 days of this hearing with the clerk of the board.
Okay.
They can take the form of each property owner saying, I object for the following reasons, or one paper, people signing. I mean, it would still constitute a written objection.
All right. Just for clarification, is there anybody here who signed that petition that's now objecting?
I signed it back in 1980 or sometime. It shouldn't even be held accountable, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if it even
These are
qualifies.
from 02, these petitions, right?
Petitions are...
What, Jack, please?
02.
These are new petitions, 02. I mean, there were petitions back to 1988, but every time we didn't have enough response, we'd start all over again and get all new signatures.
Okay, another question is, like I said, once if they do this and they sign to object this, who's the board of commissioners, will it be the commissioners to decide this? Who makes the decision?
When all the letters come in, the clerk has prepared a package with those objections that each commissioner has received. And so they will be getting the information.
And then they'll make it.
Yes, and then the objectors will be notified of a date and time of decision.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dave.
People in the audience, we got work to do.
It seems like we have 45 people here that's objecting to it. So why do we have to call or write her a letter? You know, can't
Because
we
that's the
show her
process.
showing hands here?
That's the process outlined by High Revised Code. And that's why we're holding this hearing. That's why the petitions were circulated, because that's the procedure the High Revised Code stipulates for installing sewers. I mean, we took a little oath that says we follow what the High Revised Code said. We said we do it, so that's why we're doing this.
Okay, my name is Ruth Winchell. I live on Rolling Avenue. I am living on disability Social Security. I already wrote in my letter of objection in case I couldn't make this meeting, and I want to know if that qualifies.
Yes, got it right here, Ruth.
It does. Well, my problem is, it's going to be added so much to my taxes that on my income, I can lose my house to foreclosure because there's no way in the world I have enough income each month to pay the excess of taxes.
See that?
So if the commissioners could find a way to lower the cost, I don't think anyone really and truly objects to the sewers. It is the inflated cost that is upsetting us. You're going to have a lot more foreclosures if something isn't done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ruth.
Let's make sure that you stamp her letter in after
It's already
the close.
stamped, Jim.
Yeah, we have it.
December
For this
13th.
project?
The
Yes.
13th, yes.
It needs to be stamped after this
Here.
meeting.
You could have mine.
Stamp it
That's why
again.
I'm
Stamp
asking.
it. You have it? Okay.
Just for so there's no legal issue, when the meeting's closed, if there's been any objections filed, let's do these people a favor and stamp them after the meeting so we have them in the 5-day window.
Okay.
All right? It's a technicality, but I see our attorney nodding.
Yes, sir.
My name is Charles Shumway, Shumway. I live at 5245 Rolling Avenue in Sheffield Township. And I didn't sign the petition. And to be absolutely truthful with you, when this is done, I could probably drain a bank account and get by with getting this cost out of the way. But the question was asked by the young lady on the end. I can't read your name, and I don't remember names very well. I can always forget a face, but never remember a name. And you asked a question a few minutes ago. I don't know who was telling the people about these grants. Well, I'm here to tell you that the Tate lady and Tim Mahalchik told me that there were grants there. And I told Tim, I said, I might not qualify. He said, it doesn't make any difference if you got $1 million or if you got 2 cents in the bank. He said, the grant's there for you. And he said, I'm the one that got it. So I just wanted to clear your question up.
Was Ms. Tate acting in her role as a trustee at that time, township trustee?
No, I think she was still running for trustee.
She was a trustee, wasn't she, at one point?
No. She was never elected as a trustee.
She did work for Sheffield Township in some capacity?
Zoning secretary.
And that's all I have to say. I just wanted to clear up your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Timmy, would you like to respond to that, though?
Yeah, just 1 second. Teresa's changing her tapes. We want to get it all on record.
Sir, do you mind if we let Tim respond to that before you speak? Is it okay if Tim responds to what Mr. Shumway said? Hate to have cuts in line, but that's what we're doing.
On a response to that about telling people about sewers, I did tell people about sewers were going to probably be imminent, and they would probably come because back here a few years ago, before this project even started, Amherst already went through one debate where EPA came in. And the people really need to know this. When EPA comes in, okay, it doesn't really make a difference, and EPA doesn't care. I mean, I don't feel the way EPA does, but let me explain something about EPA, and they will also do this. I told people time and time again, you people have refused sewers in your area. You refused sewers when the prices were more right, and that was your objective. Anybody in any township or any community that's going for that can do that. Now these sewers were put off to a longer range thing, and prices have went up. Tim Mohalsic never told anybody that it would be funded. What might be funded was people that were going for the tap-ins. If you are low income for your tap-in fee, Kelly Glenn will tell you, yes, if you qualify for on low income, your tap-in up to $8,000, am I right, or something like that, would be paid. But never are your sewers ever paid by anything like that, unless that would be a special grant, and I haven't seen one of them kind of grants ever in my life. But one of the reasons these sewers are high, them sewers were put in my area of the township, I imagine it was now about a little over 20 years ago now. They are just getting paid up, okay? Now, these sewers were put in by people, by the EPA, that demanded it. Now, you can shut these sewers down and you can vote them down. And that means nothing to me. I'm a township trustee. I work for you people. But I do want you to know something. I hope you all get what you want. I know they're very high. I know it's ridiculous. But keep in mind, and I'm not trying to be the bad guy saying this, if EPA comes down on you in an area like they just did in Amherst, at the last time I was here at a meeting, not only can you stop them, the commissioners cannot stop them. It is totally it's a state of Ohio. So I'd like the people to know, because a lot of people are doing a lot of talking, and that's good. And a lot of people are doing a lot of talking about how much the prices are, and they're very high. But remember one thing, if the EPA comes down just like they did a couple weeks ago here before we had the Dutton Road project listened to just like this, you will get sewers, you will pay for the going cost because the state of Ohio says that, and you can't get out of it. And I just think that people should really know that. I mean, I am all for you people and how much it costs. But I do want you to know as your trustee that there's nothing that I can do for you. There's nothing that the commissioners can do for you. If EPA says it, you might as well say God said it.
And the thing is with that, the EPA tells them that they have to do it, and they don't give any money for it either.
No, and it goes at the current rate of what the interest is at that time, which you may get away with it for a year, you may get away with it for 5 years. Nobody knows. But if they come down on you like they did Amherst, and they've done it to Amherst twice, you're going to pay whatever the cost is at that time.
And to tie in, excuse me, Tim, because I've been dealing with the EPA on this issue, Mr. Skloronsky, who's been to our NOACA meetings before Betty and I, what's happening is Lorain County's taking a back seat on installing sewers, and now it's coming right up our backside. We don't have a choice. So what's happened, the expended funds on your sewers, I understand some miscommunication. I can't say anybody did anything wrong because I wasn't there, and I'm sure my commissioners agree with me there. What we're running into is you guys are abutting cities, you're very close, there's sewers there. The longer you put this off, the worse it's going to get. The EPA comes and mandates next year. There's no discussion. Here it comes, guys. Deal with it. Here we're trying to work it out and talk to everybody, and this has been going on since 2002, correct, Mr. Januzzi?
Yes, sir.
So we have a 62% petition on this, and again, I don't know under what guise you signed this, but, you know, it's one of those pay now or pay later. It just gets worse. There was a lady who has a brother who said her sewers were a lot less 10, 12 years ago. I don't know what happened to a young lady. Because if you back here, it was a lot less back then. The costs are going up, so you can make that decision, and if the health district doesn't approve your aeration system, then you've got real problems. Is that correct, Jack, or Ken, or Wayne? What happens with the failing systems? So the people who just spent $5,000 in the last 3 or 4 years, I think it's a 7-year, what's the checkup on the systems? Jim, help me out with the years.
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Go ahead, correct me.
The health department at times has given a certain amount of time, additional time, but on this particular project, there has been no consideration of additional time to hook up. So I would think that the statutory timeframes for when the sewer are in, and Wayne, would you help me with that, please?
I've seen 30 days, I've seen more, 60 days. It's up to the health department.
Right. So that's something that they control on the requirements to tap in. I apologize.
Okay, all right.
But we have dealt with that, though, while you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Sorry about that, but we've had a lot of sewer issues this year. So as Timmy's stating, and I understand your objections, but there's a decision that's got to be made, and I'd appreciate your objections in writing after this hearing, but we've got to take a hard look at it and make a decision on it. And I know there's some financial concerns out there, I mean, quite devastating, and we don't like to deal with those at all. I mean, we're talking about good things. But, yeah, we're not facing much of a choice anymore because Lorain County hasn't done that. The townships are interspersed among the municipalities. It's not like a township or an Olmsted Township, which sits off to the far end of the county, like Cuyahoga is. Cuyahoga's down to one township, I believe, maybe 2. But, yeah, these are all issues that have to be dealt with, and they're not nice, but it's something we don't have a choice on.
Thank you for your comments, Jim.
I have one other thing. The grant that that people are thinking about that had been gone around and was saying, Mrs. Tate was saying, she must have been misinformed of or what she thought when she heard that. There was a grant, I think it was around $300,000 or something. Kelly, what was it? Distress van. Right. And it was a grant that I worked very hard to get and did qualify for. I needed 400 low-income signatures. I worked for about 2 months to get them, all afternoon and all evening. We qualified for it. We did not get that kind of funding out of it. It kind of broke down and kind of slipped through the things, and a little bit went here to other people. But sewers, for sewers in front of your house to better your home, that was never in the issue of that grant, and I think she picked that up, telling people that she thought it was, and it wasn't. But on the same token, you know, like I'm telling people, and I just want them to know that I don't want to look like a bad guy. I'm your trustee. I love all you people. But, you know, the fact of the matter of it is, it's not anybody's fault. It's not anybody's fault that the sewers weren't put in years ago. That they were asked to be put in years ago, and the people turned them sewers down. And you can still turn them sewers down. And for the price of them, I don't blame you. All I want you all to know is the truth. If EPA comes in on it, you will get sewers, whether you don't want them or you do want them. And I'm not trying to push you to. I want you to do what you all want to do. But I do want you to know the bottom line thing. I think you should know that, me as your trustee. You should know that. If EPA comes in, that's just like in my area, they were put in 20 years ago. It was because of EPA. And the people had no choice in the matter. Yeah.
I got 20.
Elections?
No. Jack will have them in his office.
They have signatures.
Stop.
What do you know what their signatures look like? From you? Oh, that's what I think she's asking.
It's up to the petitioner that puts the petition in the ballot.
To make sure, okay.
My next concern is individuals that are stating that they did sign petitions 15, 18 years ago or whatever. Now, you said that you've placed a lot of money in surveys and researching and everything. I'm sure your survey should have looked at the type of individuals living in this area, their income, and everything else. Did you not feel that funding should have been put aside at that time, or at least tried to get funding for assistance for these individuals?
There has been a relentless pursuit for funding. There just isn't any available out there for what we're doing. As far as putting funding aside, what funding will we put aside?
I don't know. Apparently this has been going on for so many years, and there was never any hindsight to look for this?
It's not a matter of not hindsight. There is no additional resources that's put aside for construction of sewer projects. The sewer projects are funded as needed through the assessment basis or through the cash basis. There is no additional surplus of revenue every year in the sanitary engineers department that I'm aware of to put money aside for a particular sewer project. Is there, Mr. Carney?
No, there positively is not.
There is nothing available that could help these individuals out.
Well, I think Mr. Carney stated after September of next year we can apply, but there's no guarantee. Is that correct, Ken?
That's good. I'm sorry, Mr. Cortez, I thought you were talking about my balance.
I'm talking about both.
He was.
Okay.
$90,000 fixing water lines at Lorain's been, or Illyria's been popping right and left. 3 of them was yesterday. Monies are only available for grants through issue 2. The application is September, October, approval in December, each year. We fight like cats and dogs in 3 counties, Medina, Huron, and Lorain. I'm district chairman since 1990. We fight cats and dogs on this money. There's 20 members in the integrated committee. You'll see some awards and you'll see some losing projects. And we have a list of funded projects and we have a large list of unfunded projects. So there's a possibility, but there's no guarantee. And if there was a possibility, it would not be a large amount of money.
As Mr. Mahal
Because
stated,
this infrastructure of Ohio Public Works Commission is for deficient infrastructure. And they're not thrilled to death about new infrastructure. They want to fix your problems, but there's some out there, but I'm going to say it's not a lot of money.
all right, as Tim Mahalsik said then,
Ohio Public Works.
instead of waiting for EPA to come in and we're charged an exorbitant amount more than this, I would suggest possibly that some tooth and nail fighting be done to help these individuals. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Christine, and thank you for circulating the petition. Anybody else? Mr. Ritenour.
Yeah, I have one more comment. Now, you just said that you went by the frontage and the voting, right?
That's correct. Both. We have.
So somebody voted. They had more frontage than somebody else, and somebody else voted. So their vote was worth 4 people, right? Their vote was worth more than the person that owned a little bit of frontage. That's what you just said, right?
Nobody voted. It was a signature. We took the total amount of signatures and divided it by the ones that signed.
Well, what you said that the person that had more frontage.
I just explained the process. There was 2 ways that we calculated. We had to get to 62% of either the total number of ownership or the total number of frontage. So either one of those 2 ways qualifies. Some of these streets qualified both ways.
Now, in Elyria Township, they did the sewers.
There was a grant there.
No, it wasn't just for tying. It was for the rundown of this thing. And the people that didn't have the money, their taxes on their house didn't even go up.
Because I don't do assessments, so I don't know anything about that.
I lived my family lived in that area forever, and I know everybody around there. And the people that had low income, they had grants for both.
Yeah.
And they also didn't do what you guys just said. They didn't go. They went by frontage. The property that you owned and the frontage. They went by the frontage. Now, I don't know how you explain to me that you don't go you're going, how are you doing this now? You're not going by frontage. You said you're going by what? How are you doing that now?
Talking about the petitioning
Yeah,
process?
let me answer this.
Okay.
Let me answer it. The project is roughly 50/50. Roughly half of its frontage, half of its connection costs. It's a modified front foot basis. What it is the mainline sewer, the cost to put the sewer down the street is going to be assessed according to frontage. The cost to run the lateral to your house, to the right-of-way line, so you can connect the house to it, that's a per connection cost. So that's not a frontage, that's per connection. And then,
when they did it in Lorain Township, they just charge you for what goes in your front.
but it's not,
But what
Yeah.
you're doing is, now you're charging everybody for their property. But then you're charging everybody that's past them for to run it through theirs too.
yes.
Why? Because their line's already there. So you're charging everybody as you go down the line. Why are you charging them? So that's adding extra to everybody else.
No, what you're getting is a cost to run the sewer past your house. If a guy has a parcel of property that cannot be, that does not require a lateral, he's not going to pay for the lateral. It's a fairer way of doing it.
I don't see it that way.
Well, it is.
If they're paying their frontage,
You just pay for what you
if
get.
they're paying their frontage, and then he's paying for using the guy's frontage to pay to put the line in front of him. And then he's paying for the guy in front of him. So it's like you're paying everybody double.
So you're saying like across the street?
You're paying everybody.
No, what it is,
So why are you doing that?
no, it's an average cost per foot. So depending on which side of the street you're on, you're not paying the actual bid price of the sewer going through your property. You're paying, the guy across the street's going to pay half of it, and you're going to pay half of it. It's an average cost per front foot for the mainline sewer.
Now, when they did this in Elyria Township, you pay what's in front of your house, that's it.
Yeah, and I'm sure they used some equation that was pretty doggone close to the same. I think what you're getting is that,
You pay what you own in front of your house.
yeah, it's just a different way.
Why would you make the next neighbor pay for using the line that's in front of the neighbor's house, and then make that neighbor pay the line that's in front of his house? The pipe's there.
Everybody pays for what goes by his house.
Why would you pay for it to run through it?
I think the overall cost is divided up, and it's
Right.
divided up on a basis, and Wayne explained the basis that it was done. Nobody is paying twice, even though it seems like you are, but it's the overall cost divided on this basis, and everybody pays this
But you're
share.
already paying to put your pipe there. I don't care if my neighbor uses my pipe after I pay for it to put in, for their crap to run down it.
I'd be more than happy to volunteer at the end of the meeting to discuss this with you in further detail. I
You
can
can
show you how it's been
talk to them
done.
some more after the meeting, okay?
You stick around at the end of the meeting, I'll be more than happy to
Understand a little bit
explain.
more what they've done. Sir, you have comments?
My name's Larry Simmons. I live at 5405 Heacock Avenue. You want me to spell my last name?
I think we can handle Simmons. Thank you.
Okay. My question is, I keep hearing that there's no federal grants out there for this at all. How comes the people in Harrodsburg, Indiana, applied for and received a federal grant that completely paid for their sewers through their township? There's 800 homes in that township. All they had to pay for was a hookup fee, the tap-in fee, for that sewer. They did not have to pay any frontage or anything for putting the sewers in. Now, why can't we get a grant like that? Are we less important than the people in Indiana?
You're right. We can certainly ask.
Now, it was a federal grant. It was not a state grant. It was not a local grant. It was a federal grant. Now, if you need the trustees' names from up there, I can get my brother-in-law and sister-in-law to furnish those names.
Give us some information on it. It never hurts to ask, but I don't anticipate that we're going to get wonderful dollars like that.
Well, I don't know how they got it, but I know they applied for it and they received it because they put them in.
But we can ask.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons.
Comments, Ken?
Be more than happy to check that out.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Chad Parsons, 4322 Clifton Avenue. I'm trustee-elect. Pardon me?
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Kalo. I've been, as trustee-elect, I've been getting numerous phone calls in regards to, the sewer. So I did my homework, obviously. I talked to Mr. Januzzi on the phone last Tuesday, and I had asked him, what can we do? And he said, obviously there's no money. Everybody understands there's no money across the board. And I believe the people here isn't against the sewers. The big thing is the price. And I talked to Mr. Januzzi, stated again, he said there's no money involved in it. He said Mr. Carney has been doing, his best, and we appreciate that as to getting money. But what I'm asking, Mr. Simmons had made the comment, state funding, or federal funding. I had made the comment to Mr. Januzzi, what can we do? He said, as trustees, we could do absolutely nothing to get a loan. We can't get a loan for the county to do a project. If you would like to comment on that, if I was wrong. I just want to make...
The county is the designated management agency in the township, and we would have to apply for all the funding.
Sure. I just want to make sure I got that correct, Mr. Chuda. I encourage, Mr. Carney, that you continually try to get these funds, and I know you're doing a great job, and, just for the people, we need the funding. And if there's anything I could do as trustee-elect, January 1st I take over, I'd like to encourage you to call me. And let's work on this together. If there's something we could do on our part, I'm more than welcome to take that on. And Ms. Kelly, I believe? Miss Glenn, you talked about the funding, low income. You said 69% of the people would qualify. Do you have a breakdown of, because, I don't want the people to be misled thinking, oh, we're going to get a tie-in fee up to $8,000. There has to be criteria that they have to meet, and that's, how low is that? Do you have just the average off the top of your head if you don't have it?
What do you mean, like that?
Income.
Income, if it's a family of 4, they can't make more than like $48,000.
Okay, so it's up, it's not that high,
But the income limits, they change in February usually, every year.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons.
Thanks.
Okay, have we heard everybody? We want to thank you for coming and sharing your concerns with us. Your Board of Commissioners does not take this issue lightly. We have families too, and we understand how expensive this proposal is. So we will continue to work to try to find some ways to minimize the expenses. We'll support Mr. Carney at the issue 2, and we'll look forward to the information from Mr. Simmons so that we can follow up on that federal grant. At this time, I move this public hearing be closed.
I just want to remind everybody, if you have an objection, to make sure you get it in to our clerk. And then I'll second.
I think you just think if that was your parents, how would you feel? If they're all of a sudden, they're low income, how would you feel?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
I move that the board go into executive session after lunch for the purposes outlined by the whatever his name is, Mr. Cortez, the administrator. Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor.
Aye.
After